Okay, this is Science Units 9 and 10 review. Unit 9 is about light and sound, and Unit 10 is about science and technology. We're going to start by reviewing what is light and what are its properties. Light is electromagnetic radiation that allows us to see. Light can be natural, like fire, or artificial, like the light from a television. Remember, light always travels in a straight line. You can see that demonstrated in the picture at the right. Light can pass through certain materials. Other materials block light, forming a shadow. Some materials reflect light, which means the light bounces off and changes direction. Based on how objects appear when light shines on them, materials can be divided into 3 groups. The first group is transparent materials. That includes water, clear glass, and plastic. The second group is translucent materials. That includes frosted glass, tracing paper, and thin curtains. The last group is opaque materials. That includes wood, metal, and porcelain. Next, we're going to talk about light reflection, which is one of the effects that light has. Opaque objects can reflect light. When light hits the surface of these objects, it changes direction. This effect is called reflection. We studied 2 different types of reflection. The first type is when light is shined on a smooth surface. That's called specular reflection, and it causes a mirror image. When light is shined on an irregular surface, or a bumpy surface, it creates diffuse reflection. You might also hear it said diffuse reflection. You can see these effects in the pictures at the right. Again, specular reflection, when a mirror image is created, and diffuse reflection. Another effect of light is light refraction. Light changes direction and speed as it passes through different substances. This is called refraction. The effect is easily visible with an object like a pencil placed in a glass of water. You can see that above, where it's not in the water, and below, where it is in the water, the pencil appears different. Where the pencil enters the water, it seems like the pencil bends. The pencil also looks bigger where it's submerged in the water, and smaller or thinner where it's not in the water. A lens is a piece of transparent material that refracts light. There's 2 different types of lenses. Convergent lenses concentrate light rays and make images look larger, like a magnifying glass. Divergent lenses separate light rays, which makes them look smaller and clearer, like glasses for people who can't see far away. You can see the effect of the light rays passing through the different types of lenses in this diagram. With a converging lens, or convergent lens, the light rays shine through the lens and are concentrated towards a single point. With a diverging lens, or a divergent lens, the light rays pass through the lens and then are dispersed in different directions. The next thing we'll talk about is color and the color spectrum. White light is actually a mixture of 7 different colors. To help you remember the names of the colors, you can say Roy G. Biv. It sounds like a name, and it is a trick that you can use to remember the first letters of all the colors in the spectrum. The colors are red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. In order to split white light into the different colors, we use a glass prism. With the glass prism, we can divide the white light into a spectrum and see all of the colors. Red, blue, and green are called the 3 primary colors. What that means is all of the other colors can be formed by making mixtures of these 3 primary colors. Objects appear to be different colors based on the color of light they reflect. Black objects appear black because they absorb all the colors of the light. White objects appear white because they reflect all the colors of light. An object that appears red only reflects red light. The same is true for a green object or a blue object. The next thing we're going to talk about is sound and the properties of sound. Sound is caused by the vibration of objects. It travels as waves. Sound waves travel in a straight line and in all directions. Remember, light can travel in a vacuum. That means a place where there is no matter, like in outer space. But sound waves need a solid, liquid, or gaseous medium in order to travel. Sound waves travel much faster through air than through water. Look at the diagram to the right to understand how the human body converts sound waves to sounds. In the diagram, you can see sound waves represented by these red rings or circles. And it says sound waves are collected by the outer ear and are funneled through the ear canal to the eardrum. Sound waves cause the eardrum to vibrate. The three bones of the middle ear, called the ossicles, transmit and amplify vibrations to the oval window of the inner ear. Fluid in the inner ear stimulates nerve endings called hair cells. Electrical impulses are sent from the hair cells along the auditory nerve to the brain. Remember, excessive noise exposure is one of the leading causes of hearing loss. The tiny hair cells in the inner ear are easily damaged by loud noise, and once you lose them, they never grow back. Don't forget that you can go to this website, that's also on the class website, and there's different games and activities that you can play and that you can look at to review the properties of light and sound. If you go to this website, click on the modules link under the sound heading. There are also quizzes related to light. Let's talk about some of the different characteristics of sound. Sound has three main characteristics that you need to remember. The first one is loudness. Loudness is measured in decibels, which is abbreviated dB. Remember, sounds louder than 65 decibels can be harmful. Pitch. Sounds have a high pitch, like a whistle, or a low pitch, like a bass drum. The last quality is called timbre. This is a special quality that allows us to distinguish between two sounds even if they have the same loudness and the same pitch. For example, a piano and a violin can be played with the same loudness and at the same pitch, but they sound different, and that's because of their timbre. Sound, like light, is also reflected off of smooth surfaces. The two types of reflection are echo, that's when a sound reflects off of a faraway object, and reverberation, when sound reflects off of objects that are nearby. What type of sound reflection do you see in the above picture? Take a look at this diagram below in order to see what sound waves look like when they are quieter or louder, and when they have a deeper pitch, like a bass drum, or a higher pitch, like a whistle or a scream. Now we're going to talk about some of the concepts in Unit 10, Scientific and Technological Advances. In the unit, we reviewed some of the technological advances in our daily lives. We looked at technological advances that we use at home, or that we have at home. That includes things like water pipes that bring water to houses, power lines that carry electricity from power plants to houses and other buildings, and heating and air conditioning, which allow our homes to be comfortable no matter what the weather is. We also talked about advances in medicine, X-ray machines and MRI scanners, blood and organ donation, genetic tests, and certain medicines like penicillin are all advances in medicine that have improved our lives. Finally, we talked about advances in transport. We talked about modern cars and buses that allow us to get around easily and efficiently. We talked about GPS or global positioning systems, which make finding directions and getting from place to place easier. And we also talked about airplanes and high-speed trains like the AVE that make travel between faraway places quick and easy. Finally, we reviewed advances in communications and the computer and the internet. Remember that a computer needs two main components: the hardware, which are the physical parts of the computer, and the software, which are the programs that are loaded onto the computer to make it work. The hardware includes a central processing unit, or a CPU, and the peripheral devices for input, storage, and output. Also remember that different data devices store things, and that storage of data is measured in megabytes and gigabytes. You'll see megabytes abbreviated as MB and gigabytes as GB. You also might hear people say gigs instead of gigabytes. In this diagram, you can see a short explanation of how the internet actually works. Number 1, a company registers a domain with a registrar and assigns that domain to reference a certain NOMA server. Number 2, a user, like you, types in a web address or a domain in their browser, like Google Chrome or Firefox. Number 3, the request goes to their router, if applicable, and then to their modem. The modem sends the request to the user's ISP, who checks their NOMA servers to find out where to send the request. Some users override their ISP's name servers by using something like OpenDNS. Number 5, the request is then routed to another machine that is the NOMA server, which identifies if the request is related to email or if it is looking for a website. If it's a website, it's routed to a data center. Number 6, the data center then routes the pockets of information to the destination server, which hosts the website. Number 7, the host server, like Google Chrome or Firefox, then executes the request and returns HTML code to the client PC, the user. Remember, that's you. Number 8, the user's web browser receives the information and renders the HTML as a visual web page. Okay, that's the end of the presentation. Remember, go to the website, whose link is on the website, on the class website, and play some of the games and activities that we have uploaded for you.